The arc furnace. Right. Yeah, it cooks stuff. That's what it does. It cooks ores and shit. Cool, right? So today the objectives are pretty simple. It's just to complete age 3, whereas the advancement's age 3. So we just gotta drill like a whole bunch and make, well, we already drilled. We know the oil's over there. But we gotta do all of the oil processing stuff. And for that to happen, we're gonna need a lot of coke and a lot of iron, right? But let me actually show you guys what the arc furnace does. I don't know how many I can do. I can do like 2 recipes at once. God damn, this is awful. But yeah, this cooks ores like really fast, and we can do, it's a better furnace. Literally, that's why it's called an arc furnace, stronger version of a normal furnace. So this is the other cool thing that we can do. If you put in coke dust and then you put in iron, and you can make steel with it. And so this arc furnace replaces the blast furnaces because the steel, it makes it like really fast, and that's really cool. Figured it was about time we finally upgraded our coke oven situation. 18 reinforced coke brick and 9 sheet metal later, and we can make ourselves a, where's the active? There we go. And here's a reinforced coke oven, and it is not complete without 2 heaters. We'll also be upgrading to high voltage just so that the arc furnace can function at a higher level. And I mean, if we want to use high voltage in one place, we've kind of got to use it everywhere, because I personally refuse to make any sort of transformer for this stuff. Anyways, our coke oven has now been made significantly faster. I don't know how much faster, but I hope it's able to keep up with the steel demands that I have at the moment. And I hope it's faster than 2 normal coke ovens. Next thing we're making is a tank here to store all of the output creosote from the coke oven, which has already produced a full block of coke, which is very impressive. So because the steel takes forever to make, and we can't like smelt more of it at a specific time, which is a power limitation, then we're going to work on the oil processing and a little bit more power, which costs a lot of steel, but it also costs a lot of other things, so that's what we're going to work on now. For the 2 machines we're making, we need 2 machine controllers. Next, we're going to need 6 barrels like this to make all of the fluid inputs, which I'm missing hoppers for. Energy input is also kind of important here. First machine, the chemical mixer here, is a cube with 2 inputs, an input here and output here, and then another input here, I believe, as well as a spot here for the energy input and a hole in the top. And there we go. There's our first multi-block machine. It's the chemical mixer. We're going to need this for producing plastic in the near future. But for now, we still have 2 more machines to build, as well as all of the stuff from immersive engineering. The next one is more of the same. We can now make the liquid processor. 1 item output, 1 more fluid input, and that should be everything. Everything that isn't super intensive on steel, that is. This last machine is much smaller than the others, but that doesn't make it any less good. There we go. Anyways, we now have a plastic molder, and that's all 3 of the normal machines that we need, which means all that we're missing is the immersive engineering stuff. First things first, 4 redstone engineering blocks for the 4 machines we're making. Next up is a solid ton of scaffolding. Next up is another metric ton of fences. After that, we need 39 heavy engineering blocks, which we are a huge ways away from getting. At least I can make all the light engineering blocks I need. So I have just spent the last 4 hours AFK waiting for my steel to finish. Okay, I've made so much steel, and I think this might be enough to finish, right? And this isn't even all the steel. There's more in here, and there's also like enough for like 2 stacks and a quarter worth of coke, because the coke oven outpaces the arc furnace because we have so little power left. I managed to drain the entire battery stack while I was AFK. So first things first in this final section, steel mechanical components. 38 of them. Next up, with those 38 components and a bunch of pistons and a bunch of everything, we make 40 heavy engineering blocks. That's all the engineering blocks we need though, luckily, and we can move on to the rest of the blocks we need. Among those is 2 blocks of steel. Next up is a bunch of steel sheet metal. I don't know exactly how much I need, but half a stack feels reasonable. 5 high voltage capacitors. God damn, these are expensive. Next up is 6 high voltage coil blocks. A bunch of iron and coils makes dynamos. Dynamos and steel makes generator blocks, and we're almost there. All that's missing now is a bunch of fluid pipes, which hopefully 56 is enough because I'm tired of waiting. Throw all this junk back and pull out all of the blocks we need. Wait for day and head on back. All right, time for our first machine, the pump jack. There we go. So this is the first one, the pump jack. This is going to be extracting the oil from the ground. Next up, we got to process it. The second machine, the distillery tower, is going to turn the crude oil from the pump jack into naphtha and diesel, which we're going to then continue to process through this line. Now, this is great and all, but it's going to need a lot of power to run. And how, pray tell, do I plan on getting all the power? I'm glad you asked. By using the unmatched power of the sun, of course. And here's how we're going to harness it. The solar tower. This is going to be important because we both need steel for the process of turning oil into plastic, but we're also going to use it for power. So, I ran out of steel. Also forgot to craft radiator blocks. Even though we're still lacking about 100 iron to finish this, we can still work on the rest of the setup, and then just keep waiting, because that's all I've really been doing for the past dozen hours in this playthrough. And let's not forget the mirror towers to buff the solar boiler. And there's 4 mirrors helping heat up the solar boiler tower. While we wait even more, we're going to figure out how to work this little piece of cheese that we're going to be using to supply our tower with water. The first thing we're making is a well bucket, which is supposed to produce a ton of water. So how this cheese works is actually incredibly simple. The well bucket takes water from around it and fills its own inventory, and we just use a liquid hopper to pipe it into the solar tower. So I think I just need 1 bucket here, and this thing is going to start to fill itself in, and that's going to start inputting water into the liquid hopper, which is going to input water into the solar tower, which is going to turn it into steam, and finally end up all the way over here. Yes, once this is full, we're going to start to stockpile steam inside of the tower itself, and it's going to eventually end up inside of the big motor here, which we still don't have enough steel to finish. Something else we can do while we're waiting is set up all the power. Alright, it only took like another hour, but we have all the steel we need. Well, almost all the steel we need. And that begins with this giant hunk of steel. There we go. So what we're gonna do is, for the time being, we're gonna wait and dismantle this for a moment. And then, no, I do not want you. So theoretically, if I attach this and then this, ow. So the base is now powered from this. Actually, hold on, there's one wire missing in between the oil field and the base. And if I connect this, then the whole base is going to be powered by the steam generator, which means that the arc furnace is going to finally be properly powered, and I can use, oh, look at that. So many parallel operations. Actually, can I do 9? I can do 9 at once. Oh my god, the steel problem has been solved, guys. Now, I do wonder if I've got any high voltage cable lying around. I don't think I do. And I'm pretty sure with those placed, the setup is just going to start running immediately. There we go. The pump jack is pumping up oil. It's going into the distillery. I would like a bucket of the oil, so let's cut the power real quick to this. Blue dye has been my main enemy since the start of this playthrough, man. First of all, chemical mixer. And then over here, this one gets the liquid processor, and this one gets the plastic molder blueprint. So first of all, oil, which we have a bucket of. That gets us the achievement. And then in here, a bucket of diesel. Does that get us anything? Next up, I can pull a bucket of naphtha out of here. There we go. Bucket of steam, bucket of propane. And so from here, let's just put down a crafting table. There we go. 1 bucket of molten plastic. Then if I do this, put a bucket of plastic in there. It goes into the solidifier. All of this into this one chest. Okay, it's not immediately outputting. That's kind of disappointing. But, oh my frames. There you have it, folks, and we have our map! How long has it been that I haven't had a map? Oh my god. So with this plastic, we finally entered Age 4. We have access to our map, which I'm probably going to reduce the total size of, but goddamn, and it's retroactive. So we have all of the other biomes that we visited already available to us on the map. How awesome is that? And so with all of this unlocked, I'd like to thank all of you for watching and following along with the series for the time being, because it will be going on a short hiatus for the holiday season. Now, I will not be stopping content. It's just that this series, the Sevtech, is gonna go on a quick break for the holidays, and I'll take it back up with you guys, mid to late January. But for now, I've got a different series planned in the meantime, and I hope you guys can stick around for that. Subscribe, You don't want to miss it. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Peace.